Oh.
Oh, hello, Harry. It's been a while since we've spoken.
It has indeed. Maybe not for the viewers. Who knows? We'll see.
I don't know. I've got something to ask you, Harry.
Yes. I hear you have an absolutely fantastic question for me. You haven't told me what it is.
Starting with a question. Right, so this spawns back from when I used to play competitive. Because the team that I was playing with, the Distinguished Ducks, were awesome team. They've been playing for many, many years. And then they asked if I wanted to join on the assumption that I knew what I was doing, which I kind of didn't. And so whenever there'd be like a call out of combo stick together, or the combo needs to roll out here, the combo needs to do a thing, or combo push, I'd be like, wait, what's the combo and am I in it? So Harry, can you tell me what's the combo? And as Pyro, was I ever supposed to be in it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic question, and viewers might be thinking, well, duh, it's just these 4 classes, but it's actually more of an interesting conversation than that. And yeah, so as Pyro, I can now tell you, you were supposed to be in the combo at all times.
No!
Pyro
That explains so much.
Pyro is one of the 3 classes I would say should always be part of the combo. So I guess you have to go back however many years, 10 maybe?
Yeah, and apologise. I'm going to find people to apologise to.
I'm so sorry.
Never being there.
Who is your medic?
Don't know, but they died a lot.
I can imagine. So, before we get on to why Pyro is part of the combo, the other 2 classes I would classify as permanent combo members would be Medic and Demoman. And there are some viewers that are probably thinking, that's interesting. Some classes I would expect to be in the combo haven't been mentioned, but we'll get onto that in a moment.
Yeah.
The game, both Highlander and Sixes, and practically any form of competitive Team Fortress 2 other than MGE all just revolves entirely around the Uber. So having your medic having your medic as part of the combo is a pretty much no-brainer for anyone with almost any experience in the game. The only time I could imagine that would be if you've only played MGE, which I don't know anybody who's done that. And I really hope I don't come across a poor soul who's only played MGE, because they must be a tortured soul.
I know people who've only ever played Badwater.
I mean, that's not too bad. But
it's not too bad, it's an experience. But yeah, when that's the only map, if you think that Team Fortress 2 only has one map and it's Badwater, then yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were saying the combo.
So for pretty obvious reasons, the medic is always part of the combo. Demoman also is very commonly part of the combo, in fact, always part of the combo, and that's because of the amount of damage the Demoman could just pump out, and that is also area of effect damage, so by placing stickies or pipes in the right place, you can deal huge amounts of damage to a large number of people, preferably the enemy combo, and that's where the Pyro comes in. This is what you should have been doing all those years ago, pressing that M2 button to get rid of those stickies and those pipes, and that's going to protect your medic and your Demoman and anyone else inside the combo at the time. And also you get a spy check, which is pretty useful. Helps your medic stay alive from the spy. But it just reduces the amount of damage, and in recent years, the Pyro has become a more and more important class. As Demomen get better and better, the Pyros need to be reflecting better and better. So in
summary, what you're saying is that the medic and the demo and the Pyro are almost always in the combo, and that's it. Okay, well, that's an easy recording.
No. Stop.
Wait, what?
So, the medic, the demo, and the Pyro are always in the combo, but they're not necessarily the only ones in the combo. In fact, they're very seldom going to be the only ones in the combo, because if you have more than one threat coming at that combo, they're just going to crumble and die, because the Pyro can only deal with one thing at a time. If there's a spy, a bomber, and some spam coming in, that combo is just going to get utterly crunched. So you're going to need something to help deny that, and that's going to need more players in that combo. And that's usually kind of going to come in the form of some hit scan, because hit scan is the best at denying bombers, and historically that's been the heavy. Is that what you experienced when you played all those years ago?
Yeah, heavy Pyro, medic, and somebody else was always there.
Yeah, so the heavy is a very good combo class. He's very big, which means that he can take lots of aggro, he's got lots of health, he's really good to buff, and in offensive pushes he can take a lot of damage and a lot of just space quite easily. And in a defensive situation, they can hold that space, they can stall for their team if there's an ubercharge disadvantage. And so he's a really strong combo piece, and he can deny bombers really easily. He will absolutely melt anyone rushing the combo. If he's between that player and his medic, they just have no chance of getting past him, really. But there's another option.
I was going to say, so in summary, everybody is part of the combo, potentially including the heavy and the scout and the demo and the pyro and anyone else who happens to be walking past.
So we'll get onto this a little bit later, but you mentioned scout there, and that's a really strong option as an alternative to heavy. And you may think, well, scout's only got 125 health, he can't be a bullet sponge. What are you on about? And that's very true. But the role that the scout's going to play in the combo as opposed to the heavy is very different. Usually when the heavy's in the combo, the scout will be on the flank, as you would expect, and when the scout's part of the combo, the heavy will be on the flank, as you may suggest that would be a good idea, replacing that player. And the reason you might want a scout in the combo, especially on something like King of the Hill, is that the scout is just a really strong killing class. He's very quick to get in and out of the front lines, and he's very difficult to hit, so even though he can take less damage, he is also going to be taking less damage.
The glass cannon.
Exactly, a glass cannon. He can deal a load of damage, deny space just purely because of his movement and damage output. And there's also other utility. He can also deny those bombers like that heavy, because he is still hit scam. And he's really strong in Ubers for a multitude of reasons. One is that he's really quick to actually catch up to the enemy team, so he can either force or get lots of kills really quickly. And secondly, his scout speed, which is useful in and outside of Ubers, allows, if your Demoman is bombing, which is quite common, the medic to re-catch that Demoman and make him invincible with the Uber once again.
And presumably as well, I mean, a scout is always useful for building Uber because they can injure themselves, and that will allow the Uber to build faster. So making them part of the combo means that they're, because they're moving in that whole circle, the Uber comes faster and sooner.
That does occasionally happen. In Highlander, it's actually not all too common to actively build, just because you've got so many players to heal. But it can be the case in which you could whip out your Boston Basher if you're running it and damage yourself. But the scout speed that's useful to catch Ubers is also useful defensively to allow the medic to duck and dive and dodge, run away.
Yeah, say what it is. Yeah,
just to make sure that he's going to be taking less damage and get out of any sticky situations he may be in. So the scout or the heavy is also going to be a key combo piece. Scout has actually become quite a favoured combo piece in recent times, especially in North America. But in Europe, it's also really heavily used, especially on something like King of the Hill.
All right, okay. All right, that keeps... I mean, temptation is to say that makes it nice and simple and easy and straightforward, but... but from my perspective then, combo is a group of people that move together during activities and everyone else runs around at the peripheries taking out, getting shots in and taking out other players wherever they can, and pick classes and doing interesting stuff. But the combo is like a little group that moves together.
That is a pretty good summary of what the combo is. However, people who aren't in the combo aren't necessarily away from the combo. So I would actually consider, although the sniper's inside of the combo in the same area, I wouldn't call him a combo piece, because as you're saying, the combo moves together in pushes and defensive plays, etc. Whereas the sniper, in those pushes, the sniper's going to stay back. He's not part of that combo push. So although even though he's in part of the combo a lot of the time, because it allows him to be protected by the pyro or the heavy or whoever being spy checked, he's not going to be part of any of those set plays. Most of the time. There are certain times where you will have your sniper be pushing with the combo, but that's way too high level for an introduction. But
we've only got 4 hours to do this.
But a general idea is the sniper isn't part of the combo, but he's with the combo quite a lot, and that's very similar for a defensive NG. The NG is going to place his sentry gun in a good position, and the combo is probably going to play around that because that's going to draw aggro and deal damage to anyone pushing into them. So the NG isn't part of the combo, but he's playing with the combo once again.
The combo is this entity, this homogeneous blob of players. It gives the medic the ability to be dangerous without having to do any shooting themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good summary, because you were saying it is ever changing, and there's two classes you haven't mentioned, Spy and Soldier, and you were saying the action revolves around the combos, and that's exactly just true, because although the Spy isn't in their combo, they're often in the enemy combo, trying to get those stabs on the medic. They're playing around those combo players, trying to have impact via disrupting the enemy combo is the Spy's job, as well as giving intel on the enemy combo to help your combo disrupt their combo. So it's all around that combo. And then the Soldier is very seldom in the combo, but there are situations, specific holds, in which he will play in the combo, just showing that it is ever changing. One specific example is on Vigil last, you'll often have a battalion's backup soldier playing in the red room with your Demoman and Heavy if you're playing like a really aggressive sort of defense hold, and that's because the battalion's backup is really strong. It's a really good utility piece, and it allows that soldier to add extra utility into that combo. And the red room's really tight. That spam's going to be really strong for that soldier, so he's going to play in there with that combo.
And I think this is a perfect opportunity to say that if you want to be part of the KritzKast combo, you should definitely subscribe. Yeah.
Indeed, you should.
I guess we should probably say that next time we do this, we'll maybe pick out one of the things that people have dropped a suggestion for. And is there anything else? Can we drop another thing to a thing?
I certainly think taking some suggestions from the comments would be an excellent idea. I've spotted a few from the first episode that I definitely want to talk with you about Agro. Maybe I could bring a point to you and we could have a conversation about one of those.
Ooh, that's a real role reversal, isn't it? Yeah, go on. Try me. See what I know. This will be a very short episode.
Let's do some learning.
Let's not do learning. Why? Is that a thing?